This teddygaming and welcome back to another review on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Tales of a TMNT Volume 2, issue number 9 I believe it is, The Path. And this issue is one which I feel like if you're like a cat fan, you're probably not going to like this issue with how dark it is. But also at the same time, I do find this issue to be really interesting with how to go around things with like Clunk, and also how to go things with like Mikey and with his path in life as like warrior and stuff like that, which I do find really interesting as I've dabbled in this sort of stuff before in other versions of the Turtles. But I do feel like this version, especially like this issue, really did do something really interesting of really exploring the whole idea of what Mikey like path and journey is as warrior, which I do find pretty interesting. And it's a really interesting issue. I feel like it's one of those ones that you have to really think about for quite a while to be like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's great, decent. But on the other hand, you do the stuff with Clunk, and it's really just brings you back down to reality and just like, oh boy, this was oh boy, really sad issue. So yeah, you can't win them all, but at least it was a decent issue, I want to say. Okay, so with this issue, we do first start off with the Turtles. We're in the sitting room, and getting ready to watch on TV, and we do get to see Mikey. He seems quite down, he doesn't even like want to bother watching TV, and you can really tell it in his attitude and stuff like that. And this one we do get to see Clunk. He escapes through a window bit, and jumps down onto the streets, and this one he comes in contact with this lady, I believe she's called Lily, and Lily picks Clunk up and puts on her trolley, and starts to walk. But that's when Clunk gets off the trolley and jumps into the street where a car's coming, and accidentally causes a car crash, and Clunk is hurt really bad to the point where he's bleeding, he's about to die and stuff like that. So Mikey gets on his trench coat and jumps down to go out and find him. And when he does see that Clunk is hurt really bad and wants to try and take him to the vet. However, Lily says basically like, no, don't go to the vet, go to this place called River, and my friend will be able to help him. So Mikey does go with Lily to the river, and he does see this man who says basically he will help Clunk come back to life and all that. However, the only way that he'll be able to do this if like Mikey actually gives like a life for a life. And I must admit, I'm really wondering and questioning this person's like credibility as a medical person. Like, why is he giving a life for a life to save a cat? I'm pretty sure you can do that without killing another cat. I have no idea what's going on in this scene, and it just seems like really iffy with all that's going on down here, because again, like, why would you give a life for a life, especially with something like this? So I do find it to be really weird, I want to say. So after that, we do get to see Mikey asking Lee if she can give up one of her cats, and she says no, you can't. So Mikey says basically like, yeah, I understand, and I know what I said was wrong and all that. So he runs off to go and try and find another cat, and here we do get to see a pretty interesting side of Mikey. We do get to see him like breaking down, like really angry and stuff like that. And we do cut to a flashback about like a week early, where we do get to see Mikey and Splinter walking through the sewers and talking about life and Mikey's journey, and this is where things get pretty interesting. Now in this scene here, we do get to see Mikey talking to Splinter, and here we do get to see Splinter telling Mikey that like you gotta choose a path in life with your warrior stuff. I mean, basically, Splinter saying like, you know, you gotta like push away all your emotions to be able to do the stuff which like normal warriors do, like your brothers and stuff like that. And Mikey starts to really question it because like of who he is and stuff like that, because you know he's like very compassionate and very caring towards others, and just put his emotions before, you know, killing someone, which I think that's a really interesting side of his character, and one which I don't think is explored too much, because you know, I do feel like people do overlook it for just being like the Joker and all that, which I do think is a really interesting concept, and I do think it is something which I do feel like they should explore a lot more, and I do feel like it's something which I did sort of explore in the IDW comics with how Mikey felt with Splinter killing people. So I do find this whole thing to be really interesting. I do like in this issue, we do get to see Splinter's like, yeah, you know, you gotta choose a path. And Mikey's all like, I'm not too sure, which again, I do find that pretty interesting. And something which I would like them to explore in maybe like a future version. But I doubt we will, because you know, people want him to see, because you know, like, people want to see him as like the fun Joker character and all that. So after that, we do get to see Mikey returns to the river, and he does offer up another cat, and he says basically, oh yeah, this cat, no one loves him, he has no family and stuff like that. And then the man is about to go kill the cat, but Mikey says like, no, stop, and then he says goodbye to Clunk. And with this bit here, I mean, I must admit, I'm just shocked. I just don't know what to really say about it. It's just one of these things which, I mean, it's really sad. I mean, just because like I'm a cat owner like myself and all that, and just thinking about it, like maybe in the next few years, I might be doing that to my cats and all that. It's really, really sad. I won't lie, but yeah, I do feel like with this bit here, it does feel like there's not really that enough time to make it all impactful. It just feels like it just goes by within seconds. So yeah, and we do get seen a man says, oh yeah, well the cat that Mikey was gonna offer was not compatible with the other cat. He wasn't like good enough, which I don't know what that really says about one cat or another, but yeah. So after that, we do get to see Mikey returns home and talks to my Splinter, and he's talking about how he couldn't make the choice because he put his emotions before like all the other choices. And again, I think it's like a really interesting thing. And we do get to see my Splinter open up to Mikey in a pretty interesting way, where it says, basically, like, even though he had the choice to do one thing but he put his emotions before another, that's a pretty interesting thing just because he can't do that, and maybe Mikey may be able to like, teach all the other people, like, a lot more than what they're able to teach him. Which, again, I do find it to be pretty interesting, just because in like, most universes, or pretty much in every universe, we never get to see, like, the other characters, like, really putting their emotions beforehand. I know that like, sometimes they do, but it's not really on the level like Mikey does. So, again, I do find it pretty interesting with all this, and it's something which I would like them to explore a lot more. So after that, we do get to see, for the final few pages, we do get to see the turtles going out into their way, and we do get to see Mikey looking after some new kittens, and they're actually Clunks. And yeah, I mean, I won't lie, I do have a few questions about this, because we don't get to see them in the Volume 4 stuff, so I'll have to imagine they did die, which really making this issue really depressing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, because also at the same time, I don't think we ever get to see these kittens ever again in this universe, which it makes this whole thing so much sadder. But I do like how, you know, like Circle Life and all that kind of stuff and all that, and I do like how it leaves off on like a positive note and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, I feel like I'm just in like very like depressing head state after like hearing like Clunk die and all that, but here we are. So yeah, with the trivia for this issue, it's really lacking. The main bit of trivia saying that basically Clunk died, which you know, if you read the issue, that's pretty obvious. So I feel like they're really grasping at straws here for what can be considered trivia and all that. But yeah, overall this whole issue has been like really interesting, and I do feel like they have explored like, a lot of really interesting things within this issue in terms of like what Mikey does as a warrior and stuff like that. And something which I would like them to explore a lot more in like a future version, because I do feel like there's like a really interesting character and story arc you could really develop here. Especially like, I feel like doing it for other characters and stuff like that. And I think like doing it here like really shows like a different side of Mikey, which I do feel like he's like most likely probably overlooked like way too often, and so you know, and definitely he's like seen for something that, even though he is seen for like being a joke and all that, he's not really much of a joker, that makes sense, like compared to like other versions where he's more serious and where he originally came from, like being more serious but caring. I do think that this shows like a really interesting side of character, which again I would like them to explore a lot more. Now the artwork again, it's also done in black and white and done by Jim Lawson, and I do feel like with the majority of the stuff here, it's done pretty well. I do feel like the coloured version, they did do it a lot better because there's a lot more like emotion behind all these scenes with the colour and stuff like that. The artwork, yeah, it's okay I want to say. I mean, it's Jim Lawson stuff, so yeah. I mean, it varies from scene to scene whether it's actually going to be good or not, so it's one of those kind of things. Now overall, I do feel like this issue has been really great, and I do feel like this is going to be an issue which I do probably reread quite a few more times, just because of like how interesting it is. And I do feel like this whole issue is like one which I will be rereading and just like find like new like ways to enjoy it and be like, Oh, so did that, and then that cleaned on to that. I do feel like this whole issue is one which I need to examine a lot more, to truly understand and appreciate the beauty of this issue. But yeah, that's game for today, guys. If it doesn't, please share, like, subscribe, and all that stuff. Goodbye, yo, bye.